Right. Mm. Okay, I first picked up an acoustic guitar when I was 10, and then after a few months I saw a documentary about the Beatles, and I saw McCartney's bass that looked like a violin, so I really liked the shape of that instrument and I wanted to play that instrument, and then I discovered it was a bass, someone told me. So I decided I wanted to play bass from then on, and I went to music school and I heard an actual bass, and it didn't look like that, but I loved the sound anyway, so I started playing it, and yeah, and so and then I kept playing the guitar alongside, so I play both instruments. But yeah, I then went full on bass. I graduated from in the Institute of Contemporary Music Performance on a music business course. So for 3 years I've studied how the music industry works, and so like I just wanted to know more about the environment that I was working in with the band, and just being more aware during the career, and that really helped me. And so I think I developed an interest for the music industry outside of playing music. And then I like art in general, so I collect some Japanese prints that my dad started giving to me when I was like 11. I developed like an interest in Japanese prints and Japanese art. I would like to master the piano. I started playing it a bit by ear recently, but I don't feel like I don't have the confidence yet to like compose and stuff like that, which I would really like to get in the future. And then, yeah, I mean, I also play, like, I write my own songs, and so I have something going on aside, which sometimes I try to bring the stuff into Husky Loops. Yeah, I started playing in bands when I was really young. I was like 11, and I played in front of the square in my hometown in Italy, in front of a lot of people. Like probably the biggest amount of people that I've ever played in front of. And then I, like going into like middle school and high school, I started forming bands with kids that I was in class with, and I've been in loads. And I started a band called War Dance with a friend of mine called Josh, and we recorded a really great album that it's going to be released at some point. Unfortunately, right now we're not active, we're not playing live, but the stuff is great and it's still there, so we're gonna release it at some point. Okay, mainly I think two. The first one is to convince people to pay attention to what you're doing, because I think if you're doing something special, once they pay attention, then it will work out. But the difficult thing nowadays is to get their attention. And the second thing is, for me at least, in Husky Loops, is to make things work between the three of us and like taking decisions. And we clash a lot, but at the same time, it works like this because we always manage to come to a really great conclusion. But it's definitely kind of frustrating some at times. And there's a lot of egos going then like clashing and stuff. But it's always for the best, and we get along very well in the end. I think, well, thanks for that. I don't think I've created anything, but I must say that when I was really young and I was starting out, I used to put my favorite records on, and I used to play in front of a mirror with a guitar, and I did that for a few years, like until I was 12 or 13 or something, and that helped me to get an idea of how I was looking on while playing. And then so I think after that it always felt natural for me being on stage, and I kind of became a different person to what I was normally. Like something came out of me on stage that was very different, and I loved it, and I've always kept it in a way. But I think now it's completely natural. It's not that I think of how I'm moving or how much I'm putting into the performance. You know, it's just it works in the end, and it's very I'm in the moment when I play, and I'm lost in a way. I don't think about anything other than feeling the music that I'm playing. That's one thing that I really like about a lot of musicians that I admire. That they have two different personalities. I own 4 bass guitars, and I've owned many. I've spent a few years when I was like buying and selling all the time. And funnily enough, the one I play now, it's the first one I've ever bought when I was 12, and I bought it in Chicago when I went on a trip with my family, and we went into this shop in the suburbs, and I just bought this Fender bass that had golden, like the knobs and the keys were golden, and so it was kind of special, and then I left it aside like in a case for a few years, and I discovered it back once I went on tour with Husky Loops. We toured Italy last year. We played with Yak in Milan and Bologna, and I played it back, and I loved it, and so I decided to bring it to London, and now it's my main instrument, and I think it makes sense because it's like a full circle kind of thing, because I used to use it. And then I have a few others. I have the Beatle bass, which is the first one I've ever saw in my life. Sorry, the first one I've ever saw in my life. The Hofner violin bass, and I have that, and then I have a few more like Fender guitars. So the songwriting process in Husky Loops mainly comes from Daniel, the singer and the guitarist, bringing a song into the room. So as in lyrics and melodies, and he also very often has an idea of the arrangement he wants to. So we work together on creating it and on making it real. And then sometimes he has a very clear idea, so he would suggest us what to do. And other times, me and the drummer would come out with a groove, or like almost a song, just bass and drums. And then Daniel would bring one of his songs, just vocals and chords, and he would put it on top of it, and so that would make a song. And it's two very different approaches that we use often. Like our latest single is called Tempo. That was made like that. It was me and Pietro, the drummer, jamming out, and then he added the song over our bass and drums jams. So and my involvement into it is just playing grooves, and and most of the time I play what I feel like playing, and sometimes we clash and we argue with Daniel about bass parts as well, but most of the time we agree in the end. One of the biggest achievements that pushed me up to the next level would probably be the fact that we released a vinyl and we signed a contract, and we released our record on vinyl, and I saw it at Rough Trade, and that was a big thing for me, because I always used to go and buy records, and then I saw our record in there, so that was great. And then what else? I think another episode was probably like a year after I moved to London, getting the chance of participating into a Paul McCartney video and spending the whole day with him inside Abbey Road Studios. That was mental, and it was I see it like as a really good sign that I was doing the right thing coming here and pursuing my ideas and stuff. So that was a good thing. I saw an ad on his page, and I sent a picture of me, and they called me the next day and invited me down to Abbey Road. And so it was great because it was in the studio where the Beatles recorded all of their material, and he was there like greeting us while we were walking in. So it was like something that I've dreamt of since I was a kid. It was weird. You can imagine how I was feeling that in the evening when I walked back home. I was like, what the fuck? What just happened? But But yeah, I see that as a really good episode that gave me strength in a way, even though it sounds cheesy, but like it gave me good vibes in a moment where nothing was really working with the music, and yeah, and so I just kept going for a few years after that, and things started working out. So with Husky Loops, now we've just finished recording some new songs. We're not sure what's going to happen with them, if it's going to be an EP or an album, but we just finished recording them, and now we're going to start touring a lot, and we're going to tour Europe between the end of May and the first couple of weeks of June, and we're going to play some shows on our own, like headlining in Paris and Berlin and Hamburg, and then we're going to support the Kills on their European leg of the tour. We're playing in Prague and Leipzig in Germany and in Copenhagen with them, so that I'm really looking forward to that. That's really big, so that will be a cool experience. And then we're playing some festivals during the summer, and then hopefully releasing some stuff before the end of the year, either a second EP or an album, but yeah, some good stuff. The thing is that the EP we recorded was, even though it's the first EP we released with the label, I mean, it's not the first thing we've ever done. So there are a lot of songs that have been scrapped before, that loads, even stuff that we recorded professionally in really good studios, that we at the end we realized that weren't good enough. The new one we haven't really decided yet, but I know that like at least one or two of the songs that we recorded are not going to be on an eventual EP. They could be on an album, not sure, probably not, but like, so a couple out of 6, like 2 of them won't be part of the final thing. But it's great to have stuff recorded, because you can use them for like extra material, like bonus tracks. For instance, we have a song called Husky-esque that we recorded ages ago, like a couple of years now, and it's like the oldest song of what we play now, and we're gonna play that song tonight. It's gonna be the opener of the gig, and that song, it's way older than Dead and all the other ones of the EP. So, but we loved it, and we thought it still made sense in what we're doing now. So we kept it as a bonus track, only on the vinyl. So on iTunes and Spotify and every digital platform, you can't find that song, and it's just on the vinyl, so you have to buy the record, physical. We are very slow at writing songs, because we, especially Daniel, but in general, as a band, we're very perfectionist. So we work for ages on one single track to make it as good as possible, and very often following Daniel's vision, like to make sure that his vision becomes reality. We spend ages, and as I was saying before, even like arguing but like trying to make it work and to make it Husky Loops, but yeah, I think the fact that we work so slow makes it in a way that we don't scrap many songs, because if we work on a song, we keep going for quite a while. Touring a lot, living out of playing music, make a living out of it, and not being like skinned for the rest of of the days. But no, that's probably a good achievement that I'm looking at. Recently, we've been listening to the new Kendrick Lamar album, like every day, at least. Like it was like a drug. We've been recording in Italy in the countryside, which was great, and we were listening to that album the whole time, at least 4 times a day. Otherwise, we were starting feeling nervous. So we needed some like DNA and humble to make things right, and give us inspiration. So that album was big. What else? I think we all come from like a very, especially me and Daniel. We grew up listening to like a lot of rock, classic rock, like Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, and obviously the Beatles. But then also like many different things. And then I've been a lot into reggae and dub. And Daniel has been into Fela Kuti and all the Afrobeat movement. And Pietro is really into electronic music. So it's, even though we are a rock band and we're aware of that, I think we put in a lot of different influences that probably make the sound a bit more interesting and unique. And I know that's probably what every band would say, but I think I genuinely mean it. We put a lot of different stuff into it.
Everyone discovers some new tunes, a tiny moment of anticipation before the next song. It's hard to get back into bed. It's too hard to try to talk today. To empty my mind, to feel today. Still fighting myself. Still fighting myself. It's too hard to show. I guess go speak there. Too hard to even a sexy guy.
Yes. Well, we happen to